Welcome back to another edition of 15 Minutes With. I'm your host, Sam Dostler. Today I'm excited to be joined by Iran Nazario, an ex-gang member who has founded the Peace Center of Connecticut, the central hub for individuals and organizations sharing the goal of a more peaceful Connecticut. Along with founding the Peace Center of Connecticut, Nazario has also discovered that he belongs on the golf course. Iran, thanks so much for taking a few minutes to join us.
Thank you for having me, Sam, and it's a pleasure to be here today.
You can find the Peace Center of Connecticut on social media by searching Peace Center of Connecticut. You'll find it on all the popular social media platforms. Iran also serves as the president and CEO of the Peace Center of Connecticut. So Iran, let's begin with your background. Tell us a little bit about your backstory and how that eventually led to you founding the Peace Center of Connecticut.
Oh, sure. Thank you. So I'm born and raised in the city of Hartford, Connecticut. My mom was a drug-dependent mom, and unfortunately, because of the drug dependency, she ended up having many challenges due to that addiction. Around the age of 3 years of age, we were discovered to be abused and neglected by my mom, and were eventually taken into the custody of the Department of Children and Families due to that abuse. I was placed in foster care for some time. I don't quite know the number of years, but I know that I was at foster care until my father was able to win custody through court of my brother and I. So I have a number of siblings that are not of my mom and dad. So the siblings who were of another parent went to either that parent or went somewhere else in the adoption kind of arena. So my brother and I ended up in New York City with my father, and subsequently we ended up being abused again and removed from that custody and placed back into foster care. And for most of my childhood, that was kind of like the back and forth with us. The system was looking to protect us, but they were, also putting us in danger by kind of putting us back with our parents, our biological parent at the time. So we were placed again with my mom. And this time I'm preteen, and my mom gets arrested for drug possession, drug sales, and a number of other things that she was involved with. So we were going to be removed again from my mom, placed in foster care. So I ran away from home into the streets of Hartford, and my brother left to Delaware, found somebody to go there with. And eventually I spent a number of years homeless on the streets. So as you can tell from pretty much birth through my teens, I didn't have much peace in my life. And that kind of trajectory, that path led me into finding things on the street that made sense to me at the time, which was to form a family and a bond with individuals on the streets. And many people know them as gangs. So for me, they were just neighborhood friends that represent something that I felt was like a family. So I ended up joining small crews in the cities, representing certain communities, and eventually I transitioned to gang membership. Once I went to prison for a number of crimes I committed, that I got deeper and deeper into the gang lifestyle, and eventually kind of ended up having a number of issues with law enforcement and a number of things. Dropped out of school, just was a mess. Just had so many things going wrong for me. And once I received an opportunity, I was hired by the University of Connecticut School of Social Work. Long story, short time to tell it, but I was hired by someone to actually hand out surveys about employment in the city. And that kind of exposed me for the first time to a new world, a new kind of space at the university, where I saw other young people who were going to school and had these goals and dreams and had nothing to do with violence and things of that nature. And I started to get really excited about that part of my life and what I could possibly do there. And that's, in short, what kind of propelled me to look for peace in my own life, not having had it for so many years. And as I started working more and more with the community, I fell in love with serving and helping young people avoid pitfalls I had, and also to better my community. Fast forward a number of years later, I was able to then look at my mentor, Professor Michael Borrero, who was at the university, and I wanted to be like him. So he had an organization, so I decided that I wanted to do the same. And then eventually I kind of launched the Peace Center of Connecticut 4 years ago. And I'm excited to be here. But again, that's in short. I was looking for peace. It's a short version, but everything else that happened is what led me to really want to do what I'm doing today.
What is the Peace Center of Connecticut? I know I read through the slogan as I was introducing you, but for people who might not know, people who might be interested in it, what does the Peace Center of Connecticut do?
Right. So the Peace Center of Connecticut serves as the central hub for all peace efforts across the state of Connecticut. And it's envisioned as a space where collaboratively organizations can come together and work for peace in their individual communities, because peace can be a number of things to a number of people. So the Peace Center aims to learn about those things and be able to utilize that knowledge and those connections to build peace in communities. So we have 4 pillars of service. One is development, where we train professionals in how to work with young people and work for peace in their communities. The other one is engagement, where we physically go out into the community, engage people, have dialogue, have events, and all that kind of thing to make sure that people are connected to peace efforts and resources that they need for peace. The third pillar is resources, where we share resources we learn about. So if I learn about a resource through you, I share with the community because you might be the best service they might need in comparison to what we have to offer. And then the last one is engagement, where again, we go out into the communities and we physically engage groups of people to have dialogues around peace. So it's kind of a slash between awareness, engagement, and social service and support for the community. And that's what we do at the Peace Center.
How do you see the Peace Center continuing to grow?
Well, I see us being able to eventually have a bigger building. Right now, we are provided office space by the Corporation for Independent Living, and the goal is to really have a community space, be able to have a museum type space for peace heroes that we award every single year through our Peace Hero Awards Gala, and then have community space for multiple organizations to share all of our efforts and do research to ensure that we keep improving on what we can do to make communities more peaceful.
We're talking with Iran Nazario, the founder of the Peace Center of Connecticut, also now the president and CEO. We came across you because of your connection to golf. We actually got a story of yours shared with us by the First Tee of Connecticut. You've talked about how you never thought you would belong on a golf course. Why is that?
Well, in hindsight, you look back and you're like, wow, how turbulent things were. I would go, I'm sure I went by Goodwin golf course here in Hartford, Connecticut, and others. But your space is in such turmoil, your life is in such chaos. The last thing you can see yourself in is a golf course. And then second, you buy into the mindset of, I'm a convicted felon, I'm a criminal, I'm a former gang member. It just didn't align with the golf course, and you just never thought you belonged there. You felt like it was difficult to have silence when you're used to so much noise. And I say that because, knowing what I know about golf now, it's a space where it has to be really quiet for you to focus on hitting that ball and being able to be as successful as you can be. So I think that was the difficult part of me believing that I belonged there. Financially, obviously, I didn't have any resources growing up to be there. So it was a series of things that made me believe that.
However, now it plays a pretty big role in your life.
Yeah, I first started, actually the first time I ever was on a golf course was I was a youth advisor for a youth program, and the Goodwin golf course gave us some free putting lessons, and they allow us to get on the driving course to bring kids from the inner city into the golf course. And I saw the laughs and smiles and challenged faces of young people who had never swung a golf club. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool, because you just think it's an easy thing. You just, you swing at this ball and it's going to do what you want it to do. And it's 100% not that. So, I walked away watching the young people smile and wanting to do it again. And for me, that kind of sold me more on golf. And it wasn't for some time that I got back into golf, because again, I was working and kind of doing what I was doing. But every time I had the opportunity to play golf, I felt the sense of peace come over me, that and quiet come over me, because you have to focus on the game. All the other things that are happening to you outside of the game, if you keep them within this game, you're going to struggle. So I think that's why I find it so fulfilling now. I actually have a practicing putter green here in my office, and I have clubs and all kinds of stuff. Because again, it's that time, that quiet time that you're able to get with just you and the ball, and it's almost like all your worries are gone. I mean, obviously, I'm not a professional golfer, so when you're playing for millions of dollars, I'm sure there's some concern. But for me, it's really just a great opportunity to get away from things, clear your mind, and then return to what I do for work.
We're chatting with Iran Nazario, the founder of the Peace Center of Connecticut, here on 15 Minutes With. And you talk about how you found the game, and you saw the smiles on the faces of young people, and that sort of attracted to the game. And you're also passing that along, right? You've gotten your daughter introduced to the game.
Yeah, my daughter is going away to college in California, and I said, hey, I'm gonna go out to a golf clinic. Would you like to come with me? Oh yeah, absolutely, Dad. Let's go. So we went out together, and she had a great time. She just loved it. She said, Dad, why'd you do this to me? Now I'm going to college, and I'm going to be thinking about swinging the golf club and all the techniques they talked about. And I said, well, I bought her some clubs. I said, here, take these, and when you have some really stressful days and you need some time to breathe out in California, get on the golf course, putt some balls, and drive some balls and whatever, and just kind of get away from it all. So yeah, I'm happy that I'm actually going to be introducing my son next week. My son's 8; he's a teenager, and I'll be bringing him out as well to kind of spend some time with Dad on the golf course.
Awesome. For you, what's your most memorable moment on a golf course?
Wow, it was probably, again, I think I would go back to the days of the kids and having the young people do that. But second to that is almost repeating the same feeling, but with my daughter. My daughter's smile, on the golf course, her chipping in a practice putt for like a birdie, and she's all happy and stuff, and even though it wasn't a full game, she was just so excited that she did it. And as a father, you want your children to experience joy. So that was an awesome feeling for me.
Now, there's many different reasons that people take up golf, but from your experiences in your past life and now your present life, if someone at your Peace Center were to come up and say, I hear you golf a little bit, what would you tell them as far as why and they're saying, I'm interested in this. What would you tell them as far as why they should try the game? Why should they give it an opportunity? Why should they sort of forget the pre-notions they have about the game?
Well, I would say now knowing what I do and feel in the way that I do, it's really an opportunity for you to be in touch with yourself at a deeper level, if that makes sense. Literally, when you're holding the club, and you're concentrating on what you want to do, there's so many elements that come into play, and you really have to be in the space. They call it, awareness, right? And you have to be really aware where you are and really focused on what you're doing. And if you need some time to be out there and doing that, that's great. But also the camaraderie that you form with other people. Obviously there are a lot of rules to playing golf and being in the space and in the green and just being cordial to individuals and things like that I think tend to lend to a really good experience on the course. And whether you succeed or not, or whether you go 8 over or whatever, I think that the time spent doing something that can make you be in connection with yourself and you can meet good people, I think is well worth it.
He has been Iran Nazario, the founder of the Peace Center of Connecticut, now the president and CEO. You can find them all over social media by searching Peace Center of Connecticut. Iran, thanks so much for taking a few minutes, sharing your story, not only about golf, but also about the founding of the Peace Center of Connecticut and just spending a few minutes with us talking through it.
Well, I'm so happy that you had me on. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I look forward to continuing to swing the club, and hopefully maybe someday in the future we'll see each other in person and you can teach me a few things.
I'm not sure I'm the one that you want teaching. There's a lot of other people I know that can help you, though. He's been Iran Nazario. This has been 15 Minutes With. I've been your host, Sam Dostler.